What's up, guys? It's Ben with 2020 election predictions, and today I'm going to do a focus special on how Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death and then her replacement by President Trump, which was just announced, it's going to be Amy Coney Barrett, which I think will be announced tonight at about 6 p.m. Eastern, how that's going to affect the race and some of these key states that are going to determine who our next president is going to be. When we thought this race could not get crazier, it always does. And I definitely think this has more impact on the Senate, and I'll get to that a little bit later. I think it has more implications for the Senate, but I mean, any Supreme Court vacancy is going to have a big effect, and I think that we saw this in 2016, and I think that we are going to see it again going into 2020. So just to start out right now, kind of this is the electoral map where I see it right now. I feel pretty confident in my predictions in these states, kind of just on the presidential level. Um, some change that I have right here, I have Ohio back as kind of more of a toss-up state. There's been a consistent amount of polls that actually have Biden up in Ohio, and I was thinking that with his 2016 victory that he would probably win Ohio. However, I definitely think that um, we should reconsider maybe our assumptions about the state of Ohio because Biden does appear to have some strength there. But where I think that the Supreme Court justice is going to affect this race is probably going to be in like more of the very much swing states like Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Um, I think with Arizona on the line, I think that Trump was definitely down here, so potentially this could help him. I think potentially this could help Martha McSally too. However, just from all the data I've seen, I really don't think Arizona is kind of the most fruitful use of Trump's time. I don't think that he needs Arizona, and I think that the race is going to be decided in Florida, Pennsylvania, and maybe part of the Rust Belt right here. So as of right now, kind of my post Ruth Bader Ginsburg prediction right now, I think that Georgia is probably going to be a lean Republican state. I know I've talked about this in the past, it kind of being between kind of the um, tilt and lean characterization, but I think right now it's going to be at the lean characterization. Same with Ohio. I still have it as a lean state. However, I could definitely see it kind of moving more towards the tilt. And I mean, right now, just kind of like where all the polls are at. I mean, if Trump loses Ohio, there's no chance that he wins because Ohio is definitely to the right of these Rust Belt states, and I think he's going to have to at least carry one of them, probably Pennsylvania. Next up, I think North Carolina is tilting towards Donald Trump right now. I think it's very even in the polls. I think the average like literally have it as a dead heat. The polls I think had Trump up by about 1 point on election day in 2016. He ended up winning by 3.5. So right now, I think that this favors Donald Trump. Next up in the state of Florida, I think this tilts towards Donald Trump as well. There was some talk that Trump was going to appoint the Hispanic conservative judge from Florida, and that the idea was that this is going to cement his base, kind of the Cuban American base, which they tend to be more conservative than other Hispanics. However, I still think Florida is going to go towards Donald Trump. The governor just lifted some of the lockdowns, so I think it's going to be more business as usual, which I definitely think will help Donald Trump, unless obviously that we kind of see like a third spike in coronavirus cases there. Just kind of going across the Rust Belt, I do see Minnesota and Michigan as lean Biden states. I think both these states tend to be a little bit to the left of Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Um, And so that's where I see them right now. In reference to Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, I definitely see them as kind of tilt states right now. And Arizona right now, I mean, I'm really kind of conflicted on it. I think it's either going to be a lean or a tilt towards Biden. So this is with the assumption that Trump doesn't get a Supreme Court justice through. Depending on kind of like how viscerous kind of these hearings are, we saw that in 2018, kind of the very widely publicized hearings where, I mean, the Democrats are really attacking Kavanaugh. This kind of gave energy to kind of the Republicans in Missouri and in Indiana. But I mean, these are definitely more red states. So I think what we saw in 2018, it made the red states redder and the blue states bluer. Um, so this is kind of how I see if like Trump doesn't end up getting a nominee through. If he does, I actually think it's going to give Trump voters, conservative voters, less incentives to go out and vote because they already have a 6-3 Supreme Court, which will probably last for a long while. Um, if the Democrats say that they're going to pack the court, and that's on the platform before people kind of cast most of their ballots on election day, then I think we could see this the same, and maybe even some backlash to this, and like maybe see some of these states flips. However, I don't think that they're going to ride on the platform of packing the courts. So I definitely think that we could maybe see some of these. Actually, I mean, I still think Ohio is going to go to Trump, but we could see kind of the margins get closer here, and I think this could be a realistic outcome if kind of Trump kind of rushes his confirmation justice through. In terms of the Senate, I think this has definitely more effect in the Senate. If we hold a vote in the Senate, I think actually South Carolina is still going to be a lean Republican state. I know it's a dead heat now, and like Lindsey Graham is kind of being portrayed as being like this massive hypocrite. Which, I mean, if you kind of do look at the tapes, I mean, he was kind on tape saying, "Use your words." Gets me. I think his rationales at the 2018 Kavanaugh hearing changed everything, so he did change his mind. But I mean, you know, those ads are gonna be running on repeat. I think since South Carolina still is a conservative state, I think that Lindsey Graham's vote yes for the Supreme Court will actually help him and kind of drag him across the finish line there. In terms of North Carolina, I could actually see this helping Cal Cunningham if Tom Tillis does vote yes. I could actually see this moving into the lean Democratic column. I have had it in the tilt Democratic column. I really think that if the vote doesn't get rushed through, I mean, I think this could really go either way. But this is assuming that we get justice through. So I'm going to have it as a lean Democratic state. In terms of Georgia, I think that both of these races are probably going to be very, very close. And especially if a judge gets rushed through, and there aren't any kind of like set in stone solid plans to pack the courts by the Democrats, then I could definitely see kind of Georgia maybe kind of being, because I mean Georgia's definitely to the left of a state like South Carolina. Georgia's increasingly becoming a swing state. In Maine, Susan Collins has come out and said she's not going to vote in favor of the Supreme Court justice, whoever it is. It's turned out to be Amy Coney Barrett. I actually think she could survive this seat, but there could be kind of just so much energy from the Democrats that they just really don't care what Susan Collins had. So I think this is a state that we should look at. One thing on 538, they have this as dead even though the polls definitely have Susan Collins' opponent like ahead pretty consistently. And I think it's just because the incumbency advantage and the fact that Susan Collins has won. So I really think in Maine that we can't really trust the polls. So right now, if Susan Collins like keeps her vote no, I could actually see the state saying towards Susan Collins, because I think that some people would reward her just for kind of like being able to stand in principle. In terms of Montana, I still think that Montana is going to go to Steve Daines. I understand that 2018, John Tester voted no on Kavanaugh and still won, but he was the incumbent. So I think with Steve Daines, with the incumbency advantage, that this was going to help him. In terms of Iowa, I think Iowa is just going to come down to the wire. Joni Ernst has come out and said she's going to vote yes. I could see some like backlash there. Right now, I still have it as a tilt Republican state, but I think this state could go. I think Maine and Iowa could easily go blue, and we could see this map going in favor of the Democrats. So please let me know what you think about that. I kind of just want to look at the predicted numbers here. So on the presidential level, pretty interesting here. This is probably as close as it's been. We see that Florida and North Carolina are both red now. Pennsylvania is at 61 and Arizona is at 59. So definitely pretty close. We can see that the majority line is kind of in this light blue, which shows improvements from Trump, because we've seen where kind of the dark blues in the majority, and that like Donald Trump's red only came to about here because we saw that like North Carolina and Florida weren't even there. In terms of the Senate map, I'm actually really interested to look at this here. So the only place where they kind of like really disagree with me would be in Maine, which I totally understand because the polls have it ahead. They still have Joni Ernst very narrowly up. But yeah, they have it as a 50-50 tie. I really think it's going to be between 49 and 51 states. One thing where I just like really disagree with the Senate model, let's see, on the 538 forecast is the fact that they so that if you add up the chances here, we can see a 13% chance, 13% chance, and like a 14% chance. And so that's the range between like 51 on each side. And that doesn't even get us a 50% chance. I mean, if I could bet on it, and I kind of do have some bets on predict it, it's going to be between 51 and 49 on either side. The Democrats are not going to get 54 seats. The Republicans are not going to get 53 seats. We're just in a very, very partisan environment, and I mean, it's going to just be a very, very close election. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing has just made it even more intense. So let me know what you think of my predictions. These are kind of the post. If assuming that Amy Coney Barrett does get confirmed, these are kind of my predictions right here. And then so there you go. Thanks, guys.